greatly. Then the two became friends and they returned to the academy together. Back at the Magic Academy, Seika reported what had happened to the headmistress. He understood immediately that everything was planned by the headmistress to save Mabel. Seika then asked what she planned to do with Mabel, and she replied that she had no plans for Mabel. She just found Mabel's fate sad and that her talent would be wasted if she died at such a young age. So time passed. Seika told him that in the summer vacation he was invited to the kingdom of Asteria, because there is a dragon who appeared and he is out of control. Then the crown prince of Asteria named Cecilio suddenly appeared with his maid. Seika introduced himself to him and the crown prince immediately noticed the prettiness of Aoife. Cecilio thought she was a noblewoman and offered Aoife to become one of his wives so she could join his harem. Aoife politely declined the offer, arguing that she is Seika's servant. Meanwhile, Seika thought if the crown prince was mentally retarded. After that, Seika was told about the details of the appeared dragon in the kingdom of Asteria. Seika learned that the dragon was always peaceful and had lived peacefully in the kingdom for a long time, but recently the dragon has been rampaging around causing a lot of property damage. After the conversation, Anu and Mabel surprised Seika because they wanted to know if Seika would hand over his servant Aoife to Cecilio. Seika calmed them down and said that he had no intention of handing her over to Cecilio's as his wife unless she wanted it herself. Then Seika and Aoife drove to the kingdom of Asteria in the carriage. Upon their arrival, Cecilio picked them up and suddenly a lava tiger appeared, who wanted to hunt the dragon. The monster got out of control and tried to kill Aoife. In the last moments Seika stopped the lava tiger from attacking Aoife and he wanted to kill the monster. Then the summoner of the monster appeared, who put the monster in chains. Then Seika found out that Cecilio was hiring mercenaries to deal with the dragon's problem. Seika tried to change Cecilio's mind, because he thought it was wrong to hire such dangerous mercenaries that didn't care about other people's life. Then the summoner provoked Seika, saying he had everything under control. Seika was angry since his monster almost hurt Aoife. After that he lectured Aoife, because Aoife could cast a spell to defending herself. Later in the king's palace, he researched about the dragon. In doing so, he found old books, where a lot of interesting information about the dragon was written. He decided to investigate the cause of the runaway dragon. He wanted to investigate the cause alone on the next day, because he didn't want to endanger Aoife. As a result, Aoife misunderstood his concern for her and was very sad about it. As night fell and Seika was preparing for tomorrow, suddenly Aoife appeared. She told him that Crown Prince Cecilio asked her to come to his room and that she was scared of being alone in her room. Seika cheered her up and said that she didn't have to do the request and that she could spend the night with Seika in his room. When they were both in bed together, Seika then asked if she would like to join the Crown Prince's harem. Suddenly, Aoife apologized for being useless for not being able to defend herself yesterday. Unfortunately, Seika didn't understand Aoife's feelings and misunderstood everything and hurt her feelings. The next morning, Yuki tried to tell Seika that Aoife had been in love with him for a long time, but Seika was a hopeless case who still misinterpreted Aoife's feelings. Then Seika reported to the Crown Prince Cecilio that he was going to the mountains for a few days to research about the dragon. Cecilio immediately had ulterior motives and wanted to seduce the innocent Aoife during Seika's absence, so Seika went to the mountains without Aoife. Later on, Aoife was visited by the Crown Prince's maid, who wanted to talk with her. Aoife learned from the maid of Crown Prince Cecilio that she is descended from the elves. She also told that Seika is dangerous. The elf servant explained to Aoife that the elementals avoid Seika because he is a monster. Then the elf wanted Aoife to join Cecilio's harem. Meanwhile, Seika encountered a dragon, he fought against him and used an ayakashi to immobilize it. After that, Seika used a net and caught the dragon. Then Seika figured out why the dragon was causing so many problems. He discovered the dragon was protecting his egg. Yuki wondered how a male dragon could have a baby and Seika told her that some male reptiles can change their gender. Meanwhile, Cecilio's maid tried to convince Aoife of the Crown Prince's harem and she showed her the benefits that she can get. Then Seika helped the dragon with her egg and the dragon liked Seika that he had to stay longer. Then we see Aoife and she was called to Cecilio. He wanted to buy Aoife from Seika against her will. He used his privileges as Crown Prince and abused his power to free Aoife as a slave. He told Aoife that Seika will be killed if he tries to interrupt him. He is also willing to force Seika to do his request. Followed, Aoife didn't want to be released from her slave contract because she loves Seika. The prince ignored her opinion while Aoife was held down by the guards, and Cecilio's maid set up a barrier against Aoife's magic power. So Aoife couldn't resist and they tried to force Aoife to cancel the slave contract against her will. Suddenly Seika appeared on a dragon. He didn't know about Cecilio's evil intentions, he just wanted to take Aoife to the dragon, because he needs someone with strong fire magic. So he took her with him and Aoife was happy that Seika showed up. As they flew to the dragon's hideout, Aoife thanked him for saving her. Seika was confused as he didn't know that he was saving Aoife from Cecilio. When they got to the dragon egg, a lava tiger appeared and Seika stopped the attack. After that, mercenaries also showed up, they planned everything and were after the dragon egg. When the lava tiger tried to attack again, it was suddenly defeated with water magic. Aoife was the user of the strong water magic and the mercenaries got angry. Following this, Seika used a spell and he destroyed the mercenaries' monster. Also all his enemies were scared, because the dragon that Seika is friends with intimidated them. Then Aoife burned the magic book from the monster summoner and Aoife was praised by Seika. After that in the kingdom, Seika reported the incidents to Crown Prince Cecilio that the mercenaries tricked him and the dragon was only causing trouble, because he wanted to protect his baby. Seika advised Cecilio that all he has to do is help the dragons take care of the egg, follow the dragon will no longer cause troubles. Cecilio didn't listen to Seika's advice, he asked Seika to wipe out the dragon and Seika refused his absurd request. Suddenly Cecilio got angry and he wanted to have Seika killed, because he didn't want to accept his request. After that, Cecilio demanded that Aoife become a citizen of his realm and he wanted to force her to leave Seika. Seika couldn't let him bother Aoife and so Seika got angry. Seika said that Cecilio shouldn't act like a little child, he also said to him that he would never give her Aoife. Then Cecilio's maid stopped the troublemaker prince and Aoife was allowed to express her opinion about her own decision. Aoife declined the king's offer, saying that she wanted to stay with Seika. Afterwards, the servant apologized to Seika and the two returned to the academy. A few days later, Seika suddenly invited Amu to his home, and Aoife misunderstood the invitation. Seika explained that he doesn't want to propose marriage, the real reason was his father wanted to meet the best student at their academy. Mabel was also invited to his house. Arriving at the Lamp Rouge estate, Seika was greeted by his brother Love and the father of Aoife. Seika's friends introduced themselves and thanked them for the invitation. Love then complimented Aoife that made her blush. Suddenly, his brother Glay appeared, wanting to fight against Seika. He was no longer angry with Seika and thanked him for having to join the army through him. Glay was having a lot of fun in the army, but still wanted a rematch against Seika. Then Amu challenged Glay to a fight and Seika promised to accept his duel challenge if he defeated Amu. Seika's brother accepted his request and Seika forbade any use of magic in their battle. Amu then fought Seika's brother Glay and Glay repelled the attacks. Suddenly he stumbled and he tricked Amu. He used a feint by pretending to use magic. Amu wanted a rematch, but Glay refused. As a result Seika wanted to keep his promise and accept a fight against his brother and suddenly Princess Fiona appeared. Glay was her knight and she wanted to see him fight against Seika. With the appearance of the Holy Princess, Glay lost interest in fighting his brother. Then Glay introduced the Holy Princess to Seika's friends, they were all surprised to meet the Holy Princess Fiona. After that, Yuki wanted to know what a noble title Holy Princess is and Seika explained to her that she is called that because she is the daughter of a high priestess and her father is an emperor. Then Fiona met Amu and she was happy that Seika gave her the opportunity to meet the future heroine Amu. As the princess left the room, Seika was confronted by his friends, and he apologized for hiding the real reason for inviting them. At lunch, Seika told the Holy Princess that he recently encountered a dragon and he befriended with the dragon. Fiona was surprised that Seika were allowed to fly on a dragon with Aoife. In addition, she became curious about the relationship between Aoife and Seika. She asked how they felt about each other, while Aoife was overwhelmed by the princess's question and she said that she is his maid. During lunch, the Holy Princess also learned more about Mabel. Then Seika's father remembered about the conversation with Adis, because he wanted to know if Adis is angry that he also sent Aoife to Magic Academy. He replied that he's just angry that Aoife is the maid of an illegitimate child. Seika's father said that he shouldn't badmouth Seika because he's a good boy. In the evening, Ami showed up in Seika's room and Seika found out that Amu will become an adventurer after the academy and she thought that Seika would like to study further. Seika cheered her up and said that he will keep his promise with her and he will accompany her on the path of an adventurer. Amu was happy that he will continue to accompany her in life. The next day, Fiona wanted to see the city and she wanted to hold hands with Seika. She also wanted to experience love and seeing couples in love. She asked Seika and Amu how a romantic relationship could develop. After that, they continued to sightseeing at the town and suddenly an accident happened at a construction site. Following the Holy Princess was in danger, Amu and Glaya reacted in time and they used powerful spells to protect the princess. Fiona was saved and she lost interest from Seika and thanked Amu and Glaya for saving her. After that, they decided to return to the Lamp Rouge estate. Before heading home, Seika gave her idea and she was glad of his gift as she had never received a gift from anyone. Then Seika created a mirror with his magic and she thanked Seika for the great day. In the evening, Seika was surprised that his brother Glay worked out as a knight and he trained without a break. Then Seika learned from his brother that Fiona could see into the future and he told him that the princess showed interest in Amu and Seika. At that point he need to be careful, because it's a bad sign. In the days that followed, Seika was searched for every day by Princess Fiona, but Seika tried to hide from her. He teleports away all the time, so she can't find him and Yuki asked him why he's running away from her. He then explained to Yuki that his divination and her future vision are different abilities and not the same. After that, Seika met Amu and she said that he was training with his brother Glay's swordsmanship. Seika found out that Amu couldn't win against his brother, which surprised him a lot, because Amu is the heroine and has a lot of talent. Then Seika told Amu that he is hiding from Princess Fiona. Following this, Seika was convinced by Amu to spend some time with Princess Fiona. Seika went to Fiona and she wanted to play chess with him. He learned that she often has no one to play with, because she always wins with her ability, that she can see into the future. Seika then played chess with her and was asked which figure he thought was the strongest. Seika said that in the reality the nobles were the strongest, but Fiona told him about her opinion of the citizens and peasants. She had the opinion that ordinary citizens and peasants are the strongest characters. Also he learned that the citizens are outnumbered and conspicuous, as a result they are the strongest characters. Then Seika asked about her ability to see into the future, he wanting to know more about her ability. He also wanted to know why she put herself in danger a few days earlier, even though she already knew that an accident would happen. Fiona told him that she had the power since birth and that the future is always changeable. Then they continued to play chess and Seika gave up because Fiona won the chess game. In addition, Seika was impressed with the Holy Princess' ability to see into the future. Afterwards, Fiona said that her ability also had disadvantages. Seika learned that as a child, she was always afraid to eat stew in winter. The reason was with her ability to see into the future, she knew that there was always wheat flour in the stew. She thought that when she warmed up by the fireplace after eating, bread would be baked in her stomach and she would get very fat. When Seika heard her embarrassing story, he had to laugh. He thought it was really cute that Princess Fiona was so innocent in her childhood. Afterwards, Fiona thanked Seika for playing with her chess. Then we see evil demons, who defeated a big group of bandits. They were very powerful monsters that hunted humans in order to eat them. One of them had a special ability to see how strong someone is. A few days later, Seika and his friends were on their way to the Magic Academy and Luft said goodbye to them. Maple was sad, because she wanted to stay longer at the Lamp Rouge mansion. Then Glay wanted to go to the capital with them and Princess Fiona also thanked Luft for the nice time in their mansion. Following this, Seika was in a carriage with Princess Fiona and his brother Glay. So Glay was surprised that Seika also had a weakness, because Seika couldn't take the ride in a carriage. Afterwards, Seika asked his brother Glay what would happen if the carriages were attacked by bandits. Suddenly a group of bandits appeared and the princess already guessed it with her special skill to look into the future. Seika went on the roof of the carriage and the bandits wanted to attack him with bows. So Seika deflected all arrows with ease and he cast a spell. Also he looked down on them and laughed at them. Then the bandits started more attacks, but they didn't stand a chance against Seika. So they tried to use magic against Seika. He used a barrier and blocked their attacks. When the arrows were deflected, Glay supported his little brother and he ordered the knights to fight against the bandits. Following this, Seika used magic that defeated all the bandits. The bandits were all defeated immediately and Seika's friends showed up. After that, Fiona thanked Seika for the help to catch the bandits. Seika learned that she already knew she would be attacked by them and she had planned everything. Then they arrived in the capital and Princess Fiona thanked them for the nice time and she also was happy to meet them all. Glay also said goodbye to his little brother Seika and Seika said goodbye to Fiona and his brother. Meanwhile, the strong demons were on their way to kill the current heroine. In the days that followed, the headmistress offered Seika to join the student council. Yuki was worried as his entry into the student council would draw a lot of attention. Seika told Yuki that it's not a big problem, because his new position wouldn't affect his goals to live a normal life. Then he said that he still aims to have an ordinary life with his friends. In addition, he will continue to hide his strength and continue to defeat dangerous enemies from the shadows. Then we see the demon group and the leader Zor. They had arrived in the capital with their aiming to kill the heroine Amu. Followed then Zor ordered his group to split up and find Amu at the Magic Academy. The demon group was confident that none of the humans were strong enough to fight them. So the demons made their way to the Magic Academy with confidence. However, the demon Gannis teleported the group to the guild grounds, but Seika was already waiting for them and created fog. Gannis spotted humans and attacked them with fire magic. As he checked the bodies, he noticed something is weird. Then we see the monster tamer Lonnie and Prislaria. They were teleported to another area, so they were looking for the heroine. Suddenly a human appeared, and Lonnie summons demon wolves. The wolves attacked the human, but they only found a talisman of Seika. Then we see the ogre Mutarev in his search, but Mabel appeared and attacked him. Mabel thought the ogre belonged to her former organizations, the Merchant Association, who wanted revenge. The ogre didn't know what she was talking about. However, Mabel fought against the ogre. He underestimated him since Mabel looks weak. Then Mabel attacked him with all her powers and was able to bind the ogre with magic techniques. Mutarev was able to break free as he possessed resistance to all magic elements. Then Mutarev wanted to attack and he tried to kill her, but she was teleported to another location by Seika with a talisman. After that, all the demons were lured to a certain place by Seika, still unaware that it was all a trap. They noticed that the people they met were all weird, and after defeating them, they always left some sort of paper figure behind. Suddenly Seika showed up. He was expecting the demons and he said that they fell into his trap. The leader of the demon group, Zor, used his ability to find out the strength of Seika and froze at the sight. Meanwhile, Seika insulted the ogre and he cut off his head with a cursing spell easily. The demon Prislaria got angry and wanted to avenge her ogre friend. She was capable of using an evil eye and Seika wanted to show her the true power of an evil eye. Seika summoned a giant snake Ayakashi named Hakuda. Hakuda also had an evil eye and killed Prislaria in just a moment. Everyone was horrified by the snake and the monster tamer ordered a monster to attack Hakuda. Seika's Ayakashi also killed him and Lonnie tried to tame Hakuda. Followed then Lonnie was eaten and Seika found it amusing that the demon was trying to tame his Ayakashi. Meanwhile, Zor was frozen in fear, realizing at first glance that they didn't stand a chance. Zor ordered one of his friends to flee because he saw with his eyes that Seika is a demon king. The demons were scared because was the demon king who protects the heroine Amu and also was on the side of the humans. Zor tried to buy his friend Gannis time and he attacked Seika with all his strength. Seika easily defeated the leader of the demon group and Gannis managed to teleport away. Gannis was badly injured and he couldn't believe that Seika was supposed to be the demon king. Suddenly, his chest was cut open and he died instantly from the injury. The demons didn't stand a chance against Seika as he is far too powerful. Mabel then showed up and told him about the assassins, thinking the demons were after her. Seika revealed to her that they were after Amu and he defeated them all. He also asked Mabel not to tell anyone else the secret. The next day, all the students were gathered in the school hall and Seika had to give a speech in front of everyone. He asked Amu for advice for his speech and suddenly knights appeared looking for Amu. The knights wanted to arrest Amu. They claimed that Amu committed a crime yesterday and she murdered the envoy of the demon realm. The knights wanted to hear Amu's confession, but she knew nothing about the crime. Mabel and Aoife wanted to protect their friend, but Seika stopped them. Seika told Amu that since she is innocent, it won't happen anything to her. However, two knights got angry at Seika for believing that Amu is innocent. The leader prevented a riot, because he only wanted to arrest Amu and do his job. So Amu was arrested and Seika wanted to know the reasons for the arrest from the headmistress. He wanted to know who was to blame, so the headmistress answered that the academy would take care of it. Seika believed her that the headmistress would try everything to save Amu, but he knew if nothing would happen now, Amu would have been murdered. Then Aoife and Mabel were told by Seika that the school is taking action and they don't have to worry. After that, Seika summoned his dragon and he was about to go rescue Amu. When Seika wanted to ride his dragon, Yuki worried about Seika. She warned him that he will draw a lot of attention and his peaceful life will end. Besides, he might repeat the same fate of his previous life. Seika couldn't be swayed, he was angry and decided to save Amu at all cost. Following this, Seika was on his way to find Amu in the capital. Meanwhile, Amu was terrified, locked in a prison cell, fearing that she would never see her friends again and that she would not be able to experience fun adventures with them. Then she started crying and suddenly a mysterious person appeared. Following this, Seika flew into the capital with his dragon and he used his Hitogata paper to locate Amu. Seika immediately located Amu's whereabouts and ended up in the prison's castle. When Seika tried to save Amu, the knights tried to kill Seika. A knight calls for reinforcements and Seika was attacked by thousands of arrows. Following this, Seika showed his power and none of the arrows could penetrate his defenses. After that, Seika countered with an attack and used earth magic to defeat the knights. Seika was on his way to the underground of the castle and more knights appeared, who wanted to stop Seika. Followed Seika was immediately attacked with fire arrows and he also used fire magic and attacked the knights with a white flame attack. Many knights were burned and they continued to fight, so Seika summoned in powerful Ayakashi who slashed them all up. Seika and his Ayakashi defeated countless knights in just a moment and they had no chance against him. As a result, Seika got into the underground and he was able to free Amu. Amu was mad at him because she was scared that Seika would get into big troubles after rescue her. She didn't want to go with him as she didn't want to put Seika in danger. So Seika told her that she is the heroine and she will be killed if she doesn't flee with him. Seika wanted to protect Amu and wanted to escape with her together. Suddenly a person appeared and it was Seika's big brother Glay who blocked his attack. Then the holy princess Fiona also appeared. Seika wanted her to explain why Amu was arrested and why Princess Fiona wanted Amu be killed. Fiona then explained to him that the current nation was once small and the hero was a symbol of peace. Besides, the current nation was still weak at that time and the world was uneducated. She said that Demon King and Hero are obsolete nowadays as both races demons and humans strive for peace. Seika learned that the demons wanted to kill Amu as they wanted to erase the cause of the war. Additionally, Seika learned that Amu can never become as strong as the previous heroine. The reason is Seika is by her side, who always protecting her from danger. Seika didn't want to let Amu die and Fiona offered him to take care of the problem and also not arrest him if he leaves now. Seika declined her offer, saying that he doesn't know if he can trust her. Fiona was sad and his brother was disappointed in his brother Seika. So Fiona accepted Seika's decision and she prepared a carriage for Seika and Amu's escape. Following this, Amu thanked Fiona and Seika found out that Fiona gave her a blanket in the prison and visited her all the time. So Seika apologized for doubting her and made amends as a farewell. Then Seika went to the dead knights from her army and he revealed his true power. He revived the knights and the two girls were shocked by Seika's powerful spells. Then Seika and Amu wanted to head back and they knew they would have to leave school afterwards. Meanwhile, Fiona talked to a shadow. He wanted to know who Seika is. Fiona tells him that he is the current Demon King, who protects the heroine. Seika wrote a letter to his friends and they decided to go on an adventure together. So, Amu and Seika met their friends in a town to start their new life together as adventurers.